ngomongnya.
For them. I think Starso had a big impact on the
Dilarang
Sens.
bertengkar.
Going to have the same sort of thing, and Turco was also able to match that. I think blow for blow in terms of impact.
Well, this is going to be a rematch between two EMEA rivals. So why not bringing two more EMEA rivals, Mitchman and Tom?
Halo Maulana.
Thank you very much, Sue.
We rivals?
I don't know about that. I guess we played the show match against each other, feeding on from that one. But taking a look at this game right here, this is going to be a joy to cast, Tom. We talked about how hard it is to beat a team 2 times in a row. And it's only been a couple of days. Supermassive Blaze have had a lot of time to take a look back on what changed. And I think that showed when it comes to the veto.
Well, we saw yesterday how much G2 were able to fix their issues even on similar maps and then come back through and actually come back versus Sentinel. So it definitely is something workable for Supermassive Blaze, but I can tell you now, Ascend have probably been in the workshop as well.
Supermassive Blaze starting on the attack on every map. That's a strange situation. You'll see them here on Ascent looking for the A side and finding it for free. They found the weakness, they found the gap, and the plant will be theirs.
Yeah, the full retake going to have to come into play here for the side of Ascend. Now, they're going to be looking to try and come on the flank and pick off the man of Brave, but already looking to try and spot out those remaining players. Will probably call for a little bit of support.
Oh, nice shot by CNED, still with the dash online. He gets out of there, not sectioned in by the Nano Swarm. They've caught Brave as well. The players on the site, and they're going to start to feel overwhelmed. Players coming from every single angle. Shock darts in, more damage, but they somehow get away with all the kills. 5 and 4 HP left between Pora and Izzy, but Supermassive Blaze take the pistol.
Excuse me? that was a blink and you miss it sort of round. Izzy just finding pretty much every single kill as they look to try and walk back into the site and even landed them, as you said, while he's only on 4 HP. That was looking like almost perfect retake coming in from Ascend, but just can't get the final kills at the end of it. So Supermassive Blaze, they're going to get off to a strong start. I think that's going to be important in this series. Now, I know that in terms of the map pool, it is similar until we get to the third, which obviously we didn't see last time. The difference of the maps being flipped, though, I think actually could be quite a big deal, because last time you got Ascend going into their own map choice, winning it dominantly, then they come through into map, which we spoke about at the time, being heavily favored to Supermassive Blaze, one that they've been unbelievable on in both Turkey and EMEA. And then we sort of had that almost, I don't want to say underperformance, but we had some of the players that I would have expected to be a little better, not quite up to the standard I would have wanted. I think the real focus there for me was actually Russ, because he's someone we know can be an absolute superstar. He's a little bit missing in that series, so I think that them starting off on their strong map could actually be a really important thing for the Turkish squad.
When it comes to Russ, I've heard many people talk about this guy, and we're expecting to see
baru main udah take pause aja.
What I want to point out when it comes to Supermassive Blaze is the fact that they've kind of approached this veto in what I would consider to be a strange manner. Obviously, we're starting out on Ascent here, but the thing that surprised me was the fact that they banned out Icebox.
Kalian dukung siapa? Gimana sih bikin poll gitu?
And they let Bind through this time, so they're comfortable playing Icebox. They could have let that through. They could have banned Bind, and it would have been okay. But it puts us in a bit of a weird situation where you're like, that's a map that they got destroyed on, and they're still willing to play it. And that is where, similar to what we saw with G2 Sentinels yesterday with F4Q, G2 as well, they have definitely looked at that map and fixed a lot of problems.
I'm the other way around, though, because we've got Split, the permaban of Ascend, in the map pool, and they chose to ban Haven, which up until they lost to Vision Strikers was a map I was incredibly confident in them on. So I think that, if anything, 2 of the 3 maps, I actually favor SMB.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you.
Gimana sih bikin community itu?
Looking at it from the context of
Corona kah bro, pala.
The previous
Udah
series.
bro, jangan dong bro.
But that is a testament to how they can adapt and how they can push forward. Now, we're getting back into the game here, but Ascend are just on an eco, so we don't expect to see a whole bunch
PCR bro, aman bro.
Supermassive Blaze have gone for the rifle over on Izzy.
Gak ada corona bro.
But in this situation, you don't really want to
4 kali
lose
aku tes
any
bro.
players.
Orang Jember lagi sibuk dia potong rambut.
One kill in this round now and then dies. As long as somebody picks up the rifle, he comes in with a blade storm. He got so many kills in the pistol that he's put himself and his team in an incredibly good spot. That's why he can actually afford to take this bit of a risk as long as well, that gun doesn't fall into enemy hands. For now, at least, there are going to be a multitude of
Iklan lu kok
defenders.
iklan chat
And we
Valorant
have
nggak tahu deh.
seen how the shorty can actually work from the
Nggak bisa
boat.
disetting
So
kan?
I'm a little bit worried that one of these players is going to fall to that gun.
Yeah, look how low Brave is as well. Even as he's getting healed up, he's still going to be pretty weak as he walks into the back of Bone. And Bone Cold not able to follow up, but there's the shorty for one, and almost more found. Look, a decent attempt by Ascend here. They can find any more kills, it would be huge, but as we said, the weaponry disadvantage is just too great. As we go 2-0 for Supermassive Blaze.
Ibis ganteng nggak bro? Siapa sih Ibis? Ibis
siapa
bro?
Yeah, I expect the early stages of this next round are going to be fighting for ultimate orbs. It means that they can just drop the extra rifle over. Izzy can play as Bladestorm, and this comes in as a money than what we probably would have seen. Or maybe he goes for an opening pick, and if he gets it again, he can just do exactly the same thing. I am a little bit disappointed they didn't just give him the plant.
Tek lagi coy.
Had to worry about that at all. But hey, it can still work in terms of economy management. But this is where Ascend are really going to look to actually get into the game. And I sort of looking back at the match that they had versus Vision Strikers, I also had a few players in that series where they were surprisingly, my mind at least, was Starzo. I think that in terms of clutch plays, in terms of a player who I would almost guarantee will win a round or two for Ascend, he had a deadly quiet series. Now, do I think that's going to happen again today?
Apa nih masalah ini? Apa problem
for it
ini?
to happen twice would be a massive shock.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we talked extensively about how this veto is kind of shaped up in the previous tech pause. We have another one called in by Ascend this time around. A little bit of an audio issue, but it shouldn't take too long to fix up, and we'll be right back into the game. But a moment to take a breather. And I noticed before we jumped in that Brave had actually
kemarin balik ya, nyampe sore
kind of big
Jakarta.
investment for what you get out of it, you know. I think he invested 2,800. Now, obviously, he can still sell, unless they have a bit more of a conversation when they jump back into things, and that puts a slight bit more pressure on them to get some
Siapa ya namanya ya?
into this third round.
Yeah, I think considering what we just spoke about like the Bladestorm basically being one orb away, that is a bit of a weird investment.
Enggak ada Stin.
Not really necessary in these sort of rounds, but I guess if they have the faith that they can actually win it, then it's a completely different story, especially if they end up in some sort of afterplant scenario. We have a little sneaky peek at the map right now. You know, we have insider info, and it does seem like at the moment at least, pretty much the whole team is building up outside A. So it is possible that they're just going to go for a sheer brute force. I'm also interested to see a little bit more of a Bone Cold on Ash when it comes to this map, because individually, he had a horrible map when he played against them last time. I think we spoke about him getting to none for the rest of the half in that map, which definitely wasn't his game. I think it's an agent which, if you're comfortable on it and you can bring it into your map pool successfully, it's one of the best in the game at the moment.
Polisi masih cuti, iya.
The amount of setup plays you can
Polisi
have,
magang
the
gua.
ability to delay stuff from across the map, it almost acts
aman kan kok di gua patah-patah ya.
The issue, however, is players that don't necessarily
aman kan, guys?
on it, a lot of the time will have horrible individual series. Like you have positions where you're caught in your astral form and get taken down, and when you have players such as the ones on SMB who at times are incredibly aggressive, or you have sneaky likes coming through from Pora, that could definitely be more of an issue for them.
Most certainly could be. Just a quick update for those at home. We have got admins working diligently on fixing up those audio issues. We should be good to go in just a couple of minutes, taking a little longer than expected, but
aman, okay.
Not a bad time to wait out. You know, as we said last time around, the G2 Sentinels
game,
the game before that momentum really picks up. At the moment, you know, it feels like the start of a game is often a coin flip in those pistols. And well, I guess we kind of saw it on the A site, right? Like, they had 9 HP between the lead. It tells us
excellent connection
about how things are going to go. Izzy hits a couple of good shots, but it's that leg up. It's that kind of 50-50 that puts you ahead that now they need to capitalize on. And this is where the true test begins. Massive Blaze. So good time to get it out of the way now. They'll be able to swing through and not lose that momentum if they do manage to build up those rounds. Because again, they have. Sometimes it's just good to be able to set the pace, to be able to control.
I'm curious, what were you thinking with the playoff bracket? From what you've seen so far, you know, a lot of the guys from NA on one side, it means that
I wasn't upset.
Basically got a guarantee of a non-North American team going to be making it into the final, which I think is cool. Also, a very high percentage of an NA team being in the final.
Kenapa jadi Shiba yang hack?
Depending on, well, I guess the winner of this and how they're going to be able to do.
It would have to be the winner of this to take down both 100 Thieves first, and then presumably Sentinels, maybe Envy though. Sentinels are looking like they have a couple of weaknesses coming into the last few games. So On the other side
of
things,
YouTube padahal excellent connection.
They finally managed to defeat
OBS gua
Sentinels on a LAN
OBS
event.
gua
Imagine
hijau.
that seeding game being worth that much as well. That's the incredible thing. Like the difference. Like obviously, I think Crew have definitely surprised us a bit, but they've come out of the weakest of the groups. I don't think that's really arguable. And now G2 have almost they beat Sentinels.
Windows
They get
update.
themselves Crew.
Agak,
Have a good
udah gua
opportunity
update.
at least to get into the semifinals. And then you've got what the Vision Strikers versus probably
We're up
Gambit.
to date.
Let's be honest.
I think Gambit.
We got to say probably because we are going to be watching that game a little bit later, Mitch. So you don't want the viewers.
Kenapa masalah ya?
Probably Gambit.
Probably Gambit.
Yeah, so
Bitrate
Gambit
gua
versus Vision
kegedean
Strikers
gitu.
would be an interesting match to watch for sure. I think like there's a
even on the bracket.
Look at this.
Production on point.
So yeah, obviously there's still 2 matches to be decided. 100 Thieves versus the winner of this game, and Vision Strikers versus
Sentinel lawan NP anjing enak ketemu
I
NA.
don't see them even dropping 10 rounds across the series, to be honest. They look
Es
so
lawan
clean right now, and Crew are weak as hell. And moving on then,
G2
that
Crew.
sets
Ini
us
mah
up
G2
for
harusnya
some
G2.
insane semifinals and finals.
Yeah.
Yang lagi download
pretty much
nggak
no
ada
matter
sih.
which teams make it through out of those, it's going to be a defining moment in international Valorant.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the other thing as well is I know that there's going to be a lot of people a little bit more shaken by the fact that Sentinels have lost to G2, especially because I think out of the expectations even for EMEA teams, like we weren't sure about G2 probably the most. They've definitely surprised. They've excited us going forward.
Gini doang ya?
I also just have this feeling of a wounded Sentinels being
Uploadnya gede
far
kok.
more terrifying.
Jadi
than a
bitrate
like,
gua nggak masalah.
If they just walked through the bracket like they did last time, I think that especially with a single
Nggak,
elimination
tadi ada
knockout
buffer.
stage, I think you kind of have to look at that and go, all of that time to go, okay, we did this wrong, we did this wrong, we did this wrong. And if there's any other team that is looking at them going, well, we found some weaknesses, well, I think G2 just exploited a lot of them just to get that upper seed. And the good
lama
thing about it for G2 is, of course, they're now on the flip side of the bracket, so they don't have to worry about Sentinels unless they make it all the way to the final.
Yeah, absolutely. And even then, considering how they were able to deal with them last time, I don't think there's going to be too much.
Ya NA semuanya
warm-up game against Crew as well.
masuk playoff
They
ya
set
anjir.
themselves up massively to at least hit top 4 in this tournament and maybe push even further. And I think we saw it on social media. They were pretty happy when they saw
NA semuanya masuk playoff ya. 100 Thief, NV, Sentinel. Gokil NA berarti the best of the best.
That's where the draw was posted, right? We got to actually see these teams.
Some of you leaked it. I saw you.
Yeah, we saw you. We caught you, but
we're gonna find you. I'm just telling you. Mitch personally, he's coming down.
Gak tau Bani ngapain.
Tracking you down, the seekers. Anyway, but yeah, obviously we saw the draw over there, and so it's an interesting way to do it because a lot of the time in tournaments you're gonna have like a predetermined, Group A goes to this side, Group B goes to this side, and I much prefer the draw. I much prefer, well, look, with the way it's turned out,
Kalau
I prefer the draw. But
EMEA G2
at the same time, it does provide an interesting
udah pasti gugur satu. Essen atau SMB udah pasti gugur satu. Gambit lawan CR.
Are good because
you can't pre-prep.
I'm willing to put my hands up and say I massively underestimated paper.
Harusnya Gambit sih.
I did not expect them to take a map.
Berarti G2 antar dua ini berarti EMEA 3 ya.
In their group, I was happily saying there's absolutely no way they make it out.
Yeah.
And now looking back at those
Harusnya udah pasti Gambit sih. Menurut gua ya. Cuma nggak tahu kalau CR tiba-tiba menggila.
I mean, they did SEA.
Crew ini Latam ya?
I think that's one of the things that, at least comparatively to other games, that gets me excited for.
Iya Latam.
SEA is we've now seen 2 teams come onto the international stage and be
3 NA, 3 EU,
which is great. Like we saw that last time with X10. But also, I just think practice partners, like the Koreans alongside SEA, are going to give themselves much more of a chance to improve because they're going to be facing off against each other. And it's going to be a learning curve for Paper X here, but I think they will have already learned a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw it day to day.
Modal Blackjack nanti malam.
Was fantastic. But you know what, Tom? Stop talking. It's time to get back into the game.
Jadi kita sikat ya. Blackjack.
Supermassive Blaze are looking to pick up their third. Now Brave did sell that.
Tenang aja, ntar jadi kali 4 lah itu modalnya. Devo gila, Devo Gambit kan? Brave pindah ke tim secret ya. Oh gila juga nih.
Already Porus
What the fuck? Maju sendirian cok.
as he tries to push through alone. Izzy already managing to
Playoff-nya
find the trade
harusnya
with that
double LM deh.
available to him if he desires, and he will pull it out almost instantly. But Killers is there to shut him out. They're making this one costly, that's for sure. But
Mati
still
nih,
a 2-3 for the defenders.
Vampir loh.
Another player drop, leaving Turco all by himself. But he was described as a clutch player. This time he won't
Coba
be
kita
finding
lihat.
anything.
Mereka kemana ada kok?
Two players lost, and considering Bladestorm was used up as
Berlin.
well, I don't see that as terrible. I think Ascend got away
Belum
with the
ada
bare minimum
playoff
having
nih.
3 players alive.
Yeah, for sure. And
Iya dia single deh.
fairly fast-paced move out of Supermassive Blaze. I don't think they expected too much to come through here. Still going to have themselves a buy. Not really anything missing from it either. Utility on point. So
Valorant.
like this is going to be one of those weaker rounds. And in fact, you're actually seeing Killers on the other
kita
side
lihat
have to go
playoff.
down to a Bulldog. So it's still a good
Iya,
possibility
single
that we see
elimination.
Supermassive Blaze bounce back. And I think they need to. I want to see them get off to a strong
Single
start.
guys. Gak ada ini. Gak ada double elim. Karena udah grup soalnya. Pendapat lu LCK bareng Parteeh sama FS. Ya udah. Seru. Tapi yang lagi sih Parteeh jadi nggak lolos sih itu. Kalau kemarin menang lawan SMB aja. Champion tuh. Nih kalau anak Europe atau NA kalah nih pasti ada komen kayak ini. AOA, NA aim.
It seems to be working at least decently for now. It's not an agent that I would say is synonymous with him as a player, but the fact that he's slowly
jago loh. Jago banget. Kalau nontonin dia buset. Tajam nembaknya.
As you look at their recon vault just now coming back online for Zeke, he's going to be able to lob that in as soon as he's hearing the orb being taken, and that's massive information for them to play with. He has the Odin to work with as well, so that's going to be sprayed straight away to take down the Killjoy ultimate. The lockdown not in effect, and 20 seconds left. Supermassive Blaze have been completely outplayed. They need to just run into a stacked up site, and Ascender toying with them, just running the clock down. 10 seconds to get the spike planted, and there's still so many players on the site. That was a fantastic round for Ascend, and Supermassive Blaze just looked lost.
That might be one of the best B-side defensive setups.
Salah.
Like, it was just perfect. They even had the wall down, so if they wanted to try and wrap into the back of the site, they didn't stand a chance. And when you have an Odin just sat homed in on an
dari
angle,
luar dari Indo.
they had the slows
Pilih mana? Lihat luar sama tim Indonya siapa dulu sih?
So even if they get past the slow,
harus
that was a great
dipikirkan.
And Supermassive Blaze have just been on.
Ya, Sentinel kalah.
I mean, at this point on the attack, as I said, they looked lost. They didn't know what to do. They gambled on just that
lagi potong rambut tadi terakhir gue liat.
Putting up on top of the box, it was so easy to spray down with the Odin, and we said
lagi ganti gaya Broto
to go in for that weapon, but it got them the round there. Oh my, he's going in for it. Killers, an absolute madman, and it works out for one.
Yeah, I think
Broto lagi ganti rambut ya.
When you have an Astra. Just the ability
menjadi
to
gimbal
have these little setups, pulling players into angles, and especially in a round like this where there's only going to be pistols in play, it's going to become fairly difficult. And that's probably the most knives I think I've ever seen fired off in one go. But hey, if he's going to get himself just keep the round flawless for the side of Ascend.
Alsikilan atau enggaknya belum ada info sampai sekarang.
I think they have a small
positive
to look at, which is that they did die to the Bladestorm. So those are ult points that they're getting that their opponents don't get to farm up, and it's a decently valuable ultimate taken out of the hands of Ascend. At the same time, reality is you need to follow up with some rounds.
Itu kalau bukan Jet lawan ya.
And that last buy round looked abysmal from Supermassive Blaze, but that was because they relied on the crutch of that lockdown, and that got destroyed with 20 seconds left, and they had nothing that they could really do. This time around, they won't have that crutch to play with, so I'm curious what their strategy is going to be.
Well, early information seems to be the aim of the game. Passing of the drones, and Starzo tries to peek off the back of it, but Izzy will win that opener. Further information for Zeke, and he's going to go for the wallbang, he's going to get it as well! An instant trade! This man is doing so well on the server Odin, and well, I can see the smile on Mitch's face.
Oh, jelas.
I mean, you can't really resist it, can you?
Mic biasa kemana ada kok, mic biasa. Jadi lagi pengen pakai headset aja.
He knew it. He's being punished
Gua pilih Ascent. Mana SMB ngalahin Perex, males gua. Ascent aja kita Ascent. LCK ngambil berapa omnan buat champion cuma satu.
But they still need to get into a site. And as they look to push A, CNET is here all alone, but he has an operator and a dash still online, waiting to find a victim. There's the dash out. Oh, he's even going for the spam. I like it. It's a good attempt, but now they're going to have to just play for the post plant, right? Yep.
Spike planted.
A lot of information garnered from
the
defensive side, but they're going to wait for that rotation. They actually have a lockdown here as well, so you almost feel like the attackers are going to try and fight for some tree control, otherwise this is going to become incredibly difficult. They don't have any counter to it either. There are a couple of shot darts, but I don't know if they're going to be able to land it from here.
Kenapa kalau Torregri ini jarang yang nggak pakai skin? Soalnya skin itu kan gimana ya? Skin itu kayak menambah suggest jadi enak main gitu.
It's going to be close, but I think they've just about got it. Oh
no, they don't.
Time's a little bit too low, 0.48 of a second. But in the end, that will be the round for Supermassive Blaze by a fraction of a second in it.
Yeah, I think that one of the players
kalau ada
very close
skin yang enak menurut kita tuh kayak jadi lebih nyaman gitu nggak sih nembaknya?
Which makes all the difference. It's probably not the manner in which Supermassive Blaze would have wanted to win the round because, well, they lost every single player. But that one shot from Turco, we call him the clutch player for a reason.
Yeah, target selection was on point there. A little bit more body blocking would have been nice and probably would have won the round, but these are such minute things. You can never really fix those up in the moment. Drone's going to be destroyed right away, but it's valuable. 400 credits committed, but it takes CNET out of that position in aggressive mid control. He is still sitting around here. Still
2, 3. Head, kelihatan.
Sets. More aggressive and look to catch them as they come on through. Already up close is Izzy, and he catches him off guard. A quick headshot and opt to be retrieved potentially by Supermassive Blaze. More importantly, the man advantage is now theirs.
Iya yang track SMB
tapi Starzo that takes the bullet instead.
Oh iya deh.
They didn't connect onto Zeke and he's still doing work.
SMB yang menang round salah.
Isolated. His teammates have gone pushing, taking control over the back of mid. They'll know that it is going to be a push in that direction at this point. The problem is
kira yang tadi yang nembak
that Zeke can do to delay them.
It's such a shame as well. Now 2 rounds we've seen Starzo be dropped.
They
have to play aggressive off this over on the Supermassive Blaze side. They know that Hunter's Fury is coming in. They want to seize the map control first. They managed to go all the way towards the spawn. Holding up close as Killaz comes out. Oh, that spray was so good! Huge damage done! These other players 50 HP and Zeke isn't even going to be blinded up. They're dropping down. 30 bullets left in the magazine. Oh no! It's more than enough. That's 4 kills for Zeke on the backside.
Zeke jadi
all alone with 9 left. They do not want to peek. They just want to run down that clock and then double peek, swinging in to close out the round. So well played by Ascend and Zeke. Really showing up on this Odin.
Yeah, it's one of those things as well that they made as somewhat of a recent change. Like previously on this map, we saw him playing agents like Rainer, and I was kind of looking at it going, okay, but you just played a bit of Sober in the past, we'll see how it goes. This is an unbelievable round from him. They just couldn't clear him from the back angle. The paranoia didn't land as well.
Cuma dia bukan barisan yang masuk duluan toh kak, jadi gak kelihatan. Coba dia yang pertama masuk.
I'm starting to wonder if they're just going to have to leave the B site alone because at the moment Supermassive Blaze
agak pilek-pilek aja dikit-dikit.
Well, they are going to send
kadang batuk.
towards this side of the map right away. There's been a lot of success though for Supermassive Blaze in middle.
Tutup-tupin kayak makanya.
They're not going to pressure it, and I think it's a good read. When you find success like that 2 or 3 rounds in a row, there's going to be an adaptation. The Sand are not going to keep doing the same thing, and you see that now. They're playing a bait setup with an Astra Star to try to pull them in as they get up close, and then obviously you've got Zeke with the Odin playing in spawn, ready to wall bang away when the pull does come through.
Okay, Fab. Exo.
You're going to see these drones for information. The wall holding off as well onto short. This is a different round from what we've seen previously, but as you see, the information is now there. Also got the spike.
Batuk-batuk gini,
just waiting for anybody to try and get aggressive into
vaksin aman gak sih guys?
For now, they're almost just waiting to see if someone on the end gets a little bit cheeky.
Well, that's the idea, right? The drone just spotted 2 players outside of A, and so hopefully someone on B pushes, or someone gets a little bit aggressive down middle. But it's not going to happen. Not with the setup they have. Killjoy and Astra holding down pretty much 66% of the map, and a 3-man stack on the A side, ready to take these fights against the pistol. Still, the Blade Storm is online for Izzy, as we've seen, and that's the real point of danger. The shot not going to be connected by CNED right away. The sprays managed to catch Brave on the crossover, but Izzy has made it to the site. Starzo is taken down, but the shot is missed. That classic fight that goes Izzy's way. He's even going in for the spike plants, and it looks like he's going to get it. This is huge. Supermassive Blaze now have a lot more control to play with than it looked like in the early round. Turco down below with a Vandal, and the first kill is his. 8 bullets left. The Odin trying to find him, spraying into the dark, looking for those final tags, but they'll have to drop on him eventually. And here they come. Zeke still closing it out, but damn good round for Supermassive Blaze.
Zeke is unbelievable with the Odin. I almost wonder why they weren't doing this before. It just seems like he's so unbelievably comfortable. But yeah, as you said, that really is a strong round for Supermassive Blaze. They came in with fairly little. They lost a lot of players initially, and still Izzy manages to at least make it close, get them some extra credits, and at least earn a couple of extra orbs for other players here and there as well. So it's not the worst round. The problem for now, though, is that we need to see them starting to get back onto the board again. As we know that Supermassive Blaze should have a decent defensive side, but I don't think Ascend are any slouches on the attack.
Yeah, well, that's really the problem, right? And for Supermassive Blaze, again, let's remember the context. They barely won that pistol round. It came down to 9 HP on 2 players to put them 2-0 up. There really has been very little success with Pora constantly farming up those lockdowns, but they never really do anything for them. The counter's always there on the other side. The mid control that Supermassive Blaze have found again and again works out this time around for the bait, but they still need to deal with Zeke. So far, he's been untouchable, but he's only good for 1. Starzo res online, but no ability to get them all back up. He has to take the duels as they come on through this choke point, and they just swing wide, taking him down, finding the B site. And Supermassive Blaze may just have found an answer.
Enggak lah, batuk. Kan es krim makin batuk dong.
Actually managed to catch out Brave though. A peak that maybe is a little bit audacious. Cosmic Divide probably not going to be too valuable in this scenario unless they can try and section off the jewels, maybe close out the boathouse, give them something a little bit extra for this spot, but Bone Cold being caught leaves it all onto Killers, and they know exactly where he is. Still, that's 2 instant shots! It's into the 1 versus 1. The turret may not spot out Pora at least for the moment, but it gives just that little bit of extra information. He thinks he's over into the boathouse, so Pora will close it way too close for comfort, and only 1 man standing again. Supermassive Blaze, since they went to the buys, they haven't had a clean round.
I mean, the problem for them is getting through those choke points, getting onto the sites, and this time around on the buy round, they make it happen. It looks dominant, it looks convincing. What was it, a 4v2? And it ends up with just Pora left to clutch it out. That is not an acceptable round, and they will not be happy. Look at this. Double swinging, they were both peeking him, and Killaz still gets away with 2. That's a huge whiff, and it almost comes with a huge price tag.
And that's saying, like, they've now won 2 rounds other than the pistol that were with 0 players surviving and 1. So credits-wise, they're still in the bin, and for the defensive side, they're going to purchase into this one. They've got 4 ultimates online as well.
They've just shock-darted Pora perfectly. It landed on his feet. 65 health, no shields left. Off such a cheap piece of utility. 150 credits invested for that. Zeke's on fire right now.
Baru kenal sama Crow. Gue kenalnya justru pas
Starzo's had the res the entire game.
Satu tim sama dia.
No opportunities to use
Ternyata dia pekan baru.
This time might be a little bit different. Killaz is holding for the cross. It is a passive hold on the A site, looking for a hard retake. Using that lockdown as we saw before, but Russ obviously Hunter's Fury online, he has to be dealt with if they're to have any chance of using that lockdown to get back.
Tak akan memperparah.
We've got a lot of ultimates online, but some that will just be used as direct counters to others. So, if anything, for now, Supermassive Blaze is just going to go in. Actually, Zeke's just popped his. This means they could, in theory, use the lockdown at a later date. He's done a lot of damage off the back, and actually Killers has gone down to the Nano Swarm. A little bit of a surprise. We're going to see those ults go out exactly the same time, but one's already going to be destroyed by the Hunter's Fury. However, the frags are going pretty well so far for Ascend.
They're going to bail out, let this lockdown go to completion.
All of
that's
them.
a big problem. All 3 players detained. They're hunting them down. Brave finding 2. And it's all down to CNET, who's still trapped. That is a big loss for Ascend. Supermassive Blaze were under threat. They were damaged up. But that Hunter's Fury being used in such a nonchalant way basically just gave Supermassive Blaze the round.
Yeah, that did seem like... obviously, it did a lot of damage. If you're looking at damage alone, like, it really wasn't a bad ultimate at all from Zeke. But it was just the fact that, as said, going into that, it looked like it was going to be lockdown, counter. Like, that was how that was going to go. Instead, he pops it early. They have no counter. 3 players get detained.
And the fact that he used his shock darts in the early round as well, that's where it just becomes almost unacceptable for me. You see that your opponent has lockdown online. You're coming into the last 3 rounds. You have to have some form of a counter. And it's either the shock darts or your Hunter's Fury, or you better be playing aggressive for early flanks. They did none of it, and then they threw away all their utility. And yes, he did great damage. The shock dart onto Pora took him down to 65 health, stripped him of his shields. The Hunter's Fury must have done about 200 or 300 damage, tagging up, I think, 4 players. But it doesn't matter if you're all detained in the end, and you just get hunted down by Brave. That was a very strange round, and I'm not surprised at all that there's a timeout called by Ascend.
Yeah, this is a lifeline. Because for Supermassive Blaze, so far, they had no rounds that actually build their economy up. If they'd lost that one, they would have been right back in the dirt again, and probably looking at more of a 7-5 half lean in the favor of Ascend. So I think that now they actually have a chance to come out on top in this one. And, well, for the defenders, they now have basically nothing to play with. Still got a res online. Not going to use it in this round.
No, I mean, that's a good gamble, yeah, considering that it's been on for about the past 7 or 8 rounds. That res has been online. Just as we said, there's no opportunity to use it, or there hasn't been thus far. Now, moving into round number 11, Ascend have practically no economy. They've got Sheriffs. And you saw CNET wanted to go for a Judge, but it's just that little bit too expensive. I find it hard to believe they'll get a whole lot done. Supermassive Blaze are going to be acutely aware of what Ascend have and the weaknesses that they're bringing into this round. So it's all about just grouping up. And in fact, look at how passive they are on their mid control. They literally have 2 players sat outside the A side, way back in the spawn, looking to just take these duels together if they do come around.
Yeah, Supermassive Blaze clearly wary of the economy of their opponents in this round. Not going to allow them to get away with anything too cheeky. Also got the turret watching, alarm bot making sure there can be no aggression into B. They're going to start their push in that direction. Even still, though, because they've given up so much control over on the A site, there's actually somewhat of a stack.
Jadi pernah ke Jember kan? Ke Jember, ke Malang.
In fact, Bone Cold on his way through to cover middle, and that aggression out of Killaz just gives so much value. 40 seconds left. Ascend have got the playbook. They know exactly what's coming towards them, but the only problem is going to be that they do not have the weaponry to fight this. Izzy is actually already on the site, spraying away for 1. He doesn't know that there's 2 more here. Bone Cold breaking out the door. CNET's good for the first. Shut down right after. The trades are good. Supermassive Blaze use a little dash to get in backside. They're covering all their angles. They're playing this together, making sure they're trading. There's not a lot you can really get done here short of a god-tier play out of one of these players.
Yeah, and I think it's just easy cleaning everything up at this point. Having a pretty good map. I think it's an important point to make that we're always going to make the comparisons between the 2 Jets in the server. Right now, it seems like he's been winning a lot of those duels, had a lot of strong openers. That was one of the things that was really curious, though, the last time we witnessed Ascend. I was showing it to you earlier. Just like, if you look at the opening kill stats, they were really far in the favor of Supermassive Blaze, even though they lost the map. I think it was something. I think it was Izzy was actually like +8 or something. It was absurd. So to lose a map off of that showed how in so many rounds Ascend were actually fighting back from a deficit. In this stage, though, it looks like Supermassive Blaze have done a little bit better to actually convert a lot of those rounds.
The operator rings out straight away. That was a secondary weapon for Izzy. He has a Vandal and a Bladestorm. The op drop behind them. Now, there's a problem with that. You've got to be very careful not to give up this map control and give your opponents that op to play when they fight back into the late stage of the round. But as you can see, with all the map control they've given up, Supermassive Blaze are entirely focused on an A play. The problem is the wall that's up on B.
Yeah.
It's complete control. 1 player holding middle, and everybody else can commit to this A site. If Supermassive Blaze go in as they look to be in the next couple of seconds, they are going to run into another heavy stack, but this time it'll be against rifles, and Izzy is already on the site. He's being pulled in, he's being challenged, somehow though, managing to evade detection, make it to back site. Russ and Turco combined for a double entry, and this is a disaster out of the sand. A great attempt by CNET up above, but Russ shuts him down on the trade, and Supermassive Blaze are not giving away these advantages.
Well, finally we're going to see that res pop. It took the final round of the half for something to be invested here for Ascend as they look to make their way through. It's Brave to shut down another, and they will hold on to the site. 7-5 in favor of Supermassive Blaze. A close half for sure, but towards the end, they had the resurgence we wanted.
Yes, most definitely. With the 2-0 start they had, they kind of stalled out a little bit. It was starting to look like Ascend just had the playbook, like they knew exactly what was going down. You look at these pushes that they had towards the B side, both of the times they used their lockdown there was nothing found, but then they went to the B, the C, the D plan, and every single one of those seemed to work out for Supermassive Blaze. Now, seeming to be in prime position coming out of this half.
Yeah, a solid half for them as well. And I honestly, I think that their defensive side is normally the one where they're a little bit more deadly. So I'm excited to see what they're going to have to offer in the next one.
Yeah, I think when I look at Ascend in the current state, they're not going to be giving up anytime soon. Their attack is definitely strong, but before we get into that, we're going to throw things over to the desk for a little halftime analysis.
Thank you very much, Mitch and Tom. 7-5 half to SMB. Things looked a little bit dicey here, and they must be happy with this start.
Yeah, the 4 rounds in a row, completely dominating with their just straight-up site pushes has been really good since the start, where they really were starting to get, I think, maybe a little tilted from the Odin of Zeke.
Palulan. Evi. Bang. Rakit PC mahal banget lagi PC. Pada ada yang ini gak sih paham dengan Yan? Anjas cantik. Cantik-cantik kok bang manggilnya doge goblok. Evi ngechat tapi dia lagi main loh.
Obviously because you haven't and just using it for the rest.
Well, a small advantage here for SMB, but it's Ascend we're talking about. They've got a way to get back into this. Let's get into the second half now with Mitch and Tom.
Yeah, it was a great point brought up towards the end. It's like when you have these ultimates online, when you have your res, and also add in Zeke's ulti that he used up when they didn't realize, I guess, that Pora had the lockdown. Ascend have been playing a sloppy game, and that's not something I expected to say coming into this, but maybe it's a bad half for them. A little bit of a warm-up needed. Now, we come into half number 2 with Supermassive Blaze on the defense, and that's a great shock dart to start it, and a second right onto Bone Cold. No smokes for this push and very little health.
He's done about 200 damage with that one. I'm pretty sure that Jonas is going to have a big smile on his face after that one, but we'll see. It's going to be the push coming through. Russ in a solid position to at least try and get something done. They need to isolate him, and they will, but they've taken so much damage along the way. Still, though, it comes back into a 2 versus 2 scenario. Izzy playing ring around the Rosie, and it leaves just one man standing. It's Zeke. He's been fantastic so far in this map, but this is still a big ask.
Yeah, most definitely is. 50 HP in a pistol round like this, and there's 2 ghosts on the other side ready to take you down. You see the paranoia there, right? He's constantly thinking like every bullet he fires, every time he knives the wall, someone's about to jump around and take him down, but they are just turtled in on the site. Now he's spotted out. I'll look to peek him together. Or not. That's one way to handle it, Izzy. Quick little shot on him to take him down. An 8 found for Supermassive Blaze. A great start with both pistols going their way, and we talk about it a lot. That gives you a huge leg up in the series.
For sure. Like, if you win both pistols on your map choice and you don't win, then you almost have to start looking at yourself at what you're doing wrong. So we'll have to wait and see.
That we will. That we will. The second round always one of these that's sort of a throwaway a lot of the time. You'll play with classics, maybe a few sheriffs, but I'm taking a look at CNED. With a Marshall in this man's hands. The round is not guaranteed at all. There's an immediate tag, a dash out of there. Izzy, now on 50 HP, is going to be much more cautious about peeking any of these pistols.
Kaget nih. Kaget Anda. Tapi bunuh 3, kaget.
He's going to need that extra HP. Turgo just farming up every single player. And nice shot from Izzy to close it as well. One player dropped, not too much of an issue. 2 orbs needed for a res as well after only a couple of rounds. And Supermassive Blaze are now in an excellent spot.
Yeah, definitely. That is a leg up. Like you get 4 rounds free, basically. And you look at how these pistols play out. We've said it time and time again. You just need that one player to show up. A couple of headshots delivered. They feel much less predictable and much less controllable than when you look at some of the other rounds that play out in the later stages. But with Supermassive Blaze finding both, they're 1 away from double digits, and in fact from doubling up the scoreline of the send. That said, the attackers currently playing in with all the rifles they could possibly want. They've pushed Izzy out of mid. And remember, Supermassive Blaze did a really good job of forcing Ascend out of this mid control when it came to the first couple of rounds. Now, Ascend are looking to do the same, and it seems like a lot of the early round fights, early half fights, are going to be around this position.
Ada flasher.
This is one where Supermassive Blaze can even make it costly, put them into a pretty damn good spot. For now, though,
Cover semuanya atau dapat?
Gak
tau, lihat nanti. Sekarang sih ngobar aja dulu dah. Satu game ini. Kayaknya nggak tahu. Dibunuh.
Good start for Supermassive Blaze, making these weaker weapons work for them.
Tapi itu.
Going over towards the Spectre, getting back into the site now is a
kemana ada?
You know, for a set,
di atas. Tadi pakai.
Manage to just lock this out, hold down the crossfires with the weapons that they have. It should be next to impossible. And take a look at the utility for Supermassive Blaze. With the exception of a recon, they haven't really got anything to play with. Now recon's about to be thrown out, signaling that the push is about to start. Drop down. Oh, wow, the wall bag's taking them down. This is looking a little bit shaky. Ascend losing lots of players. Izzy, the last alive. He found 3 in that round. The first a Marshall, a double out of the Spectre. And he was so close to making that one work.
Yeah, it's been an incredibly strong map from him. In fact, he has basically been the difference maker. If you look at the scoreboard right now, he's got double the kills of the player in second on his screen. But have to
tinggal di-tune aja, Pak. Di-install ulang aja.
Financially, it's going to put them in a decent spot. He's also going to have his Blade Storm, although I believe that CNED might also have it on the other side. So a battle of the Jets able to ensue. And in fact, is he going to go straight in for the operator? So he's not messing about.
I mean, I guess it's one of the advantages when you win out a round like that. Or I say win out. I know Supermassive Blaze didn't win the round, but they sort of did, considering what they came in with. They should not have had anywhere near that damage. Now, Ascend investing their full economy into this one. This is a huge round for Supermassive Blaze. If they manage to win it out, they take a massive stride towards closing the map. Bone Cold, again, going to be met by shock darts towards B main. He might start to stay away from that position because it seems like they're magnetized towards him every time he steps in.
Again, we're going to see the same wall going down for Ascend. Locks off a portion of the map, which until it's broken, they don't really have to face off in that angle. Now, it has been slightly damaged, at least by the side of Supermassive Blaze, just to try and hold players onto that side of the map, and it has done just that, leaving just a couple to defend versus Ascend as they now look to back towards the B side.
Now, this is going to be a full push in. Supermassive Blaze quite a bit away from rotating. These players on this site need to do a massive job of holding it down. It's Poor and Russ caught inside the boathouse. Poor is somehow able to avoid being pulled all the way in. He catches them by surprise. The Bladestorm doesn't connect, and Russ, the final man standing there, sure he'll go down, but he's already taken 3 kills. He's left Starzo all alone. And even with the plans, the res won't be online. And they're rushing him down. Look at that paranoia dash in, and you are gone out of the round. Supermassive Blaze doing such a great job here in Sens, leagues apart from the last time we saw them.
Cok, lu di bootcamp atau enggak?
Ya.
Lu udah liat tas Adidas gua nggak sih? Iya, di kamar.
Oh, kamar gua belum lihat.
Oh, lu lagi live ya?
Iya.
Oh ya udah.
PC 1 ya.
Ini gua mau apa, tas gua ketinggalan di bawah atau enggak ya? Soalnya kartu vaksinnya di situ, Cok.
Ntar ya gua lihat deh.
Oh,
Ntar lagi. Ya.
yo.
Oh yeah, I mean the next buy round is their only shot to take it. They need to start with an incredibly dominant buy round out. In this one here,
Gimana Esen nih guys?
Willing to discount it because they shouldn't be able to.
Anjing easy dapat terus loh.
Blaze or holding down B main, stopping any sort of damage there. That means they can stack up the A side a little bit more heavily. Izzy, early aggression down middle, keeping his dash online until he needed to use it. Allowed him to get that frag and well, I mean,
ganti orang dari Omen ada muka jadi mata biru.
Players around here for him to really find a gap to go undetected, to catch an angle where they're surprised. I'm actually kind of shocked that Russ is going in for that frag, but okay, fair enough.
He's feeling it. Oh dear. It happens every once in a while. It's going to be the whiff, and actually that kill coming in quick enough. I was going to say, can they get the operator?
No, nowhere near it. That's a huge loss. I mean, they're 11-6 up, but it's a butterfly effect, or potentially it could be. Losing that means much bigger investment coming into this round if they want to have the op online.
Iya sih ada. Tapi emang disuruh pakai
which still limits his ability to fight.
Kartu vaksin buat diisi yang keduanya.
That's not the end of the world. Timeout called.
Bang bolang.
I believe that's a Sand calling it. Not really much of a surprise.
They're in a spot now where we sort of spoke about it at the beginning of the series. I think that in terms of the veto, some of the initial bans were a little bit weird, but the fact that we know that Split's going to be the last map in the series, it means that even if Bind now goes the way we expect, it's still going to mean that basically we need a Send to win their permaban, so they need to try and pull something back here and now in this map. So they're going to take themselves a moment. They will have a decent buy going into the next round, but at least from my perspective, I don't really see them bringing it back at this point. I have a lot of faith in Supermassive Blaze.
You know what, that's a big if as well. Like, they would need to win this map and then go to the third, but the reality is, for Supermassive Blaze, they have a chance coming into map number 2.
Yeah.
Purely because they have allowed map number 2 to come in. We know that they're comfortable playing Icebox. We know that they could have pulled that out, but instead, they have opted to allow Bind back in. And you do not do that if you think, yeah, probably move on. Like, they clearly have done the research, and we talked about it with both of G2's series. Obviously, with the format of their group, they had a lot of rematches. But beating a team twice is so difficult because they adapt. And from what we've seen of Supermassive Blaze on this map, that adaptation is there, at least for Ascent.
Wow, this is where we see what Ascend are going to be able to do.
Mas,
I think the operator, so maybe going to try and pick up the pace a little bit here. I like this from Supermassive Blaze, though. A 3-man stack early. They are going to get scanned up, though. And Izzy, he's going to stick around, but he only just survives. He will get healed back up, at least for the moment.
Ya itu benar, berarti nggak bawa deh. Itu di depan
It's
coba cek mas. Coba cek itu di depan ada kartu vaksin nggak?
Leaving just 2 players remaining, and honestly, at this point, what does Zeke and Killers do here?
Ya, enggak, maksudku di depan tasnya, tas yang bagian depan tadi. Kantong tas paling depan. Ya, di dalamnya ada
rata yang 3 ya.
Incredible from Supermassive Blaze on a number of fronts. Individually, they are showing up right there. Again, something that we've talked about, the fact that, okay, there we go. The fact that you're being split, if you allow them to gain control over short and push up A long completely uncontested, you're in a lot of trouble. But instead, they identify that they're being split. They fight for short with 2 players. They decide that that's where they want to hold it down. And Brave does a great job here of taking down CNET and Starzo. That's the fact that, like, if Turco wasn't there, Brave probably gets 1 kill, dies, they split site, round's over. But they made that call, split-second call, to send all their forces there and try to fight it, and that's what's given them 12. Also, they dropped the spike. I mean, there's no way they could have known the spike was coming there, but it's a nice little bonus.
This leaves a horrible situation for Ascend. They're now looking to come in. Sure, they've got 4 ultimates to play with, but there's plenty of counters there available. Straight away, we're going to see the Hunter's Fury popped, and actually, Russ, while going to try and take out the has actually managed to take 2 kills with him. We are going to still see the kill jolt go through, though. He didn't destroy it. He just ended up killing the players.
He got a kill, and then he targeted it. Obviously, seeing where the other Hunter's Fury was coming from, Starzo putting up a good fight on the site. Move towards his teammates now after a quick double kill. Getting out of there is kind of tough, getting over towards the side. So instead, he's going to play inside of main and look to take the contact as they cross over and then swing with Killas. This is a powerful setup for Ascend. The smoke on Brave might give them a little bit of an opportunity, swapping over the op. Bogdan's Law there just to allow Brave to try and take this kill. Make advantage of his low HP, and in fact, Izzy's gone in for 2! This is ridiculous! He's on the side and going for the defuse. It's going to be taken halfway. The turret doesn't even catch him to start with, and inside the Cloudburst, he is defusing, dropping down. Izzy takes the kill to Gilles, and that is a disaster of a round. It looked like Ascend would at least push up to 7, and they get nothing done. 13-6, Supermassive Blaze have come to play.
Izzy ain't messing around. This man is not being eliminated today. That is one of the best maps I think we've seen from him individually, and to win that clutch from that point, like Brave didn't even have to do anything. His teammate dashes into the site and manages to kill a couple of players. You can see the smile on his face. I think even he realizes that that was an unwinnable scenario, and somehow they managed to pull it through. And well, I think we've seen a difference a couple of days ago, mate. He finished 26-12 with 344 ACS, and honestly, no one else in the server was even.
This is where you have a little bit of an upside for Ascend, though. The next map up was incredible for them last time around. They dominated Supermassive Blaze, but considering the fresh face of this tournament,
Oh, loh, Brazil Fisker ini Jepang loh. Yo, AP, Ayor. Apa?
Ada cok, tadi gua udah telepon Mas Samsul.
Ada di sini.
Ada di kamar, ntar gua titip ya. Oke.
Match found.
Inversex.
Tes.
Anjos.
Mau apa lu Vin tadi Vin? Belum pasang headset.
Inverso datang.
Lagi salon dia.
Alhamdulillah.
Harus ngapain, Dim? Harus ngapain?
Makan bang.
Makan apa bang?
Nasi sama ayam.
Asi.
Nasi.
Warm up.
Mak nasi dong.
Asi.
Kevin.
Ila.
Enak badan.
Apa?
Enak badan, mual-mual.
Oh, minum tramadol coba.
Apa itu? Obat sakit kepala kah?
Iya. Tramadol ya.
My city
Tramadol.
needs me. I can't be away for long. Let's
Lu sakit apa sih?
Vin, lu nonton ini nggak Vin? Lovers of the Sky itu.
Enggak, belum. Itu apaan? No.
Bagus. Kayak historical gitu secara.
Cuman mager gua nonton gituan.
Oke.
Mager gua nonton historical.
Kenapa?
Lagi ngapain, Yor?
Lagi tahu ngapa-ngapain, gak ada yang ngajak main.
Gak usah main, ngapain main?
Malas
Nonton aja
emang
udah.
kalau
Emang ada yang streaming itu? Gak ada kan?
ada.
Ini streaming semua kocak.
Lu juga?
Kagak. Gue lagi narap.
Nanda streaming juga. Lu ke VM lu gitu?
Apa?
Mana sih
Lu ke VM gak? Gue aja gue
Lagi
cuma
KPM.
enggak grinding doang gua. Ini ada slotnya 3 nih. Mau ikut lo?
Ayo, ntar.
Enggak ada. Males cok.
Lumayan buat shadow aja.
Shadow gua udah mau level 4 fit. Lagi mempersiapkan.
Shadow nge-LMR? Oh.
Ya,
Kill 3 doang.
of course lah. Hiburan di situ. Main Valorant stress.
Bisa begitu.
Di sini juga stress karena lu makro.
Foto sama Tens tahu.
Gimana? Gila.
Ya,
Pesan ya.
apa? Tramadol, obat apa itu?
Adios.
Sakit kepala.
Ntar Ila googling dulu. Ila tidak percaya kamu soalnya.
Emang Ila sakit apa sih
Coba
sebenarnya?
lihat.
Mual-mual.
Tramadol
sakit kepala
adalah
masuk gak kira-kira?
Gak masuk.
Ya udah.
Bagus memang Kevin.
Obat apa ini?
bilangin, tramadol adalah obat pereda rasa sakit.
You disappoint me.
Oh iya, pada. Tapi Ila nggak sakit kepala atau apa-apa.
Ya,
Ya
kan
kan?
pereda sakit, kan sakit.
Pala kau narkoba goblok.
What the fuck?
Loh,
Ila udah punya itu sendiri. I have my own ecstasy.
Dominating.
Apa tuh? Apa tuh? Siapa sih? Apa?
Makro lah.
You're done.
Wow. Udah mulai ya?
Resource.
Barbar.
Kecanduan.
Kecanduan apa kita?
Gila emang ini mantap nih bro habis futsal kayak Fred.
Kenapa Fred sih, Matim? Kenapa harus Fred? Fred.
Done.
Dari mulus banget.
Gak kuat ke? Saya dengar di Discord.
Lah duluan dah semuanya.
lah kenapa?
Oke.
Ya dibilang oke sama kakak Crow. Coba kakak Crow kamu ngomong kayak kakak Ir kenapa? Okein. Gak jadi lah, gak jadi oke.
Lah tadi udah disuruh oke, cabut lah. Orang marah, kenapa sih semua orang marah-marah mulu?
Ya padahal kakak Ir positif vibes banget ya.
Iya, nggak pernah marah kan?
Marah, iya nggak pernah. Mana ada marah?
Kasih tau, gila, kasih tau.
Kakak Ior itu orang yang sangat penyabar, murah senyum, tidak pernah marah.
Kasih tau lagi yang lain.
The real sabar teman-teman.
10 kills remaining.
Ya, paling sabar.
Mantap.
Sampai terdiam semuanya mendengarkan.
Itu
Sabar
boleh
sekali.
nggak minta nomor rekeningnya?
Dibayar berapa Ila? Banyak yang nanya sini.
Dibayar. Ini kan
Kalau
lagi
THR.
sibuk. Jadi
Yang-
ngomongnya ngawur.
5 kills remaining.
Ngawur berat tadi.
Welcome back yes. Apa nih
Vin,
Pepper?
Oi,
lu lagi grinding di mana Vin?
kali ini KFM.
1
Lu
kill
KPM?
remaining.
Iya.
Sama siapa?
Tahu nih namanya jembut
Bego
maut Taren Nomiensu.
Kamu kurang lucu pau katanya. Lu paling kan nickname-nya. Apa ada Paul lagi ya di gue tuh?
Udah mulai belum kan ya?
Timnya sih Vin, kurang ajar sih Vin.
Ya highlight.
Ini orang datang ke book monster kok Vin. Kusir kau. Aduh, mana nih wolf card kedua gua nih Vin. Aduh.
Selanjutnya bind.
Match found.
Kakak Kro lagi ngapain lah?
Lagi main DM dia.
Kenapa split lagi ya?
Itu kenapa Vin?
Channel
Apa ya?
main fan match
Di chat dulu.
4 match doang itu.
Nggak tahu, gue nggak ngerti maksudnya lucu apa, bodo amat gua.
Fun match.
Gali V sniper. Lihat dulu equipnya. Sampai merah 3 kali doang kok. Wait, putih CH8. Oke.
Lama warm up ya.
Oh, udah berarti ada Sultan Vin.
Stay in range of my stim beacon.
Habis itu apa? Vin, pertandingannya.
Pertandingan apa maksudnya?
Valorant.
Champion?
Enggak, maksudnya ini loh. Yang sekarang ini Ascent sama SMB kan.
Wah, gua nggak tahu, gua aja baru pulang.
Ini kayak
Apa tuh,
Sentinel.
Kakak?
Kan kamu
Oh,
K4
enggak. Gambit dulu.
Gambit Crazy Raccoon.
Crazy.
Still got it.
Pakai bocor banget yang itu. Yang X. Kalau misalnya lagi mau DM atau mau main Halo, gua kalau pakai earpod tembus banget suara di yang lain. Kenapa? Let's drop. Cek itu
Sama
HyperX
sama Ila
lebih
ke
gede.
kanan. Kalau ayo.
Sorry, kid.
Ajak Kakak Kro.
Jangan, dia mau main. Ayo ke kanan.
Gua mana cover dulu. Satu game.
Oke.
Gas.
Kenapa kita?
Out of here.
Red card.
Lah.
HyperX Quadcast bocor. Iya, bocor. Karena ada banyak teriak-teriak banyak.
Down you go.
Restart. Wait. Oh, Ira harus isi dulu bentar.
Instagram.
That's 3.
Gak mati dong. Life is good. Ada yang donate tuh. Apa tuh?
Who trained you?
15 menit lagi sampai Bang Kacau. Mana kita nih apa? Sampai mana lu? Masih kit Oktober 13. Oke.
Sorry, kid. Like butter, baby. That's 3.
10 kills remaining.
And 4.
Alah boy. Masih ada orang nggak di sini? Mati.
HP lu kok kecil, Vin?
Apa?
HP lu kok kecil? 93.000.
Ya gimana ya?
Putih.
Wah, putih.
Biru lah, ganti lah. Kalau nggak langsung Valkyrie aja itu.
Ntar aja bos.
Ah, paling malas gua spawn
Ya,
sini
1,5
jauh.
juta diamond, 1,5 juta kristal mah seminggu dapat itu.
Beliin lah.
5 kills
Gua juga
remaining.
grinding bos. Try hard ini.
Now we're cooking.
Juara di Berlin sih. Ah, nggak jauh-jauh lah Sentinel.
One kill remaining.
Finish it up. At ease, soldier.
PS juga bisa.
I'll never retire.
Oh shit, dude. Udah boleh belum, guys? Andi mana ya nggak tahu. Ada kabar-kabar burung.
Holders ready to put down early on in that, so those types of things
Satu
add
bandel
up
iya.
in hindsight.
Dibeliin.
Everything at the same time. So I'm not sure what's going on that side, but there's
Di
definitely
rumah.
something
Bang.
that's preventing them from executing the ideas that they want to in the right ways.
I know what it is. It's probably easy. Just the fact that you dash and smoke, it breaks the timing for you because you cannot. I mean, if it's an execute, okay, but if you're doing it from the defense, it breaks your timing.
Yeah, and also Sean spoke about the adaptation from SMB, right? We always talk about the adaptation from Ascend. How scary is this SMB team now, Bada, that they're able to do something like that, the adjustments mid-game?
Yeah, they're
Apa ya?
looking for the
KVM nggak jadi KVM, gua
gaps
jadi.
in Ascend's play on defense in that specific scenario. There's a very obvious one, but in general,
Nah,
even
ini
when
baru
they're on
balas lagi.
their own defensive side, they're reading the plays that they're making and adapting to them in specific ways. Like that, for example, I think it was third round on the attack or on Ascend's attack side, they decide to quickly go for a push through onto A through a split, and everything is prepared there in such a way that they have the one ways ready. That's where Russ got his
Coba
little,
main map baru
2K
udah lah.
round, and then it's just really nice to see.
Lama guys.
Masih KVM, Lovin.
Masih.
Lanjut terus itu. Buset.
Enggak 3 kali kan ini yang ketiga.
Bisa terus sih kalau poinnya banyak mah. Enak.
So many times, but it just didn't come either on defense or on attack.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic of them. But we are going to take a quick break here. Don't go anywhere, guys. Map 2 is on the way.
Next growth dan gue di sini Vin, di PM, di apa? Di Rocks. Nggak pernah gue bales anjing. Halo,
Kenapa?
Mamer anjing, nampaknya jadi terus. Anaknya Holgrehen bangsat. Jadinya plus
Apa sih namanya? Perex entry. Gak antar Mas ke Jember lagi gitu terus antar terus dia antar gua antar ke Jakarta lagi gak kelar-kelar. Oh itu ya belum dihidupin. Kira. Lihat Aaron joget keju tapi di belakang. Ini BNK mikir apa ya kayak gini ya? BNK bangsat ada. Lihat Aaron joget keju. Autis, kenapa sih orang-orang autis? Nah ini nih kita lihat react-nya deh.
Wait, what the hell is called? What is this? What is he brushing his teeth?
Oh my god, you're kidding me. Wait, I wanna see the chat.
Aduh.
That's a funny entry.
Keluar dulu dia kumur-kumur tuh. Ini gua gak tahu. Ini yang pas Sentinel kalah ya ini ya? Gokil. Si anjing malah stretching gak?
Gotta love it as G2 and Sentinel step back on.
Lihat sini. Trout.
All good.
Halo Pip.
That was pretty funny. Took off his jersey, but same one was underneath it.
Aduh, ada Musaswa nih.
Yo, Sean, that's gotta be up there as one of the best entries.
I
was like, is he about to get naked? I was like, what are we gonna do right now? Starting to get really nervous.
Starting things off strong, G.
Yang gosok gigi cok.
I love it.
Gak ada.
Just like at this point, I'm not even like interested in who
Gak ada.
specifically. I'm
Bagusan yang gue kirim di Discord mana? Bar. Play guys. Itu apa maksudnya? Dia mau bikin apa sih? Oh, gua nggak paham sumpah. Dragon Ball. Oh, Dragon Ball. Bang udah di depan, Bang. Ah. Woi, apap depan mana apap?
Nah, tadi sudah kita lihat entrance dari F1.
Mana lagi yang keren entry-nya, guys?
All good.
Ini lucu sih. Super serius. Sabar guys ya. Sabar. Halo. Guys, harus cabut dulu, oke. Streamnya lanjut besok ya guys ya. Ada urgent mendadak ini. Cabut dulu guys. See you next stream, bye bye.